Friends, colleagues, and dear students, it is not 5 decades what he said, I think it is 6 decades. I started my law practice in 1962 and I complete 60 years this year. I bring to you greetings from the various organizations which I have headed and presently which I am heading also. I bring to you greetings from the Bar Association of India, from the Society of Indian Law Firms, from the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, India, as also from CII, National Committee on Legal Services. It's always a pleasure for me to have interaction with the students, and I'm glad to see at least some of them are here today. I hope to learn something by my interaction with them, because we as lawyers, after having 6 decades in the law practice, have to continue to learn, firstly to unlearn what we have learned, and then to keep on learning, because it is a continuing learning process. No matter what age, whether you have put in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, legal profession is always a continuing legal learning process. That is the essence of this profession. Another essence of this profession is the commitment, the sincerity, and the integrity that you must maintain if you are a lawyer. It doesn't matter whether you are an external lawyer or an in-house lawyer, or even a law teacher, or a working with some NGO as a lawyer. But these are very critical, essential features of a successful law career. And one of it is, and you must remember this, those who want to go into, particularly the students, this is a very jealous profession. It's a very jealous profession. It will not stand any other mistress. Therefore, first commitment is, when you become a lawyer, your first commitment is to the profession itself. And that is evident today. I'll give you an example. Today itself, what has happened, we had requested Mr. Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General of India, to be the chief guest today. And he readily, willingly accepted this, because he said it will give me a great opportunity to have a learning experience with the General Counsel, with the faculty members. He readily agreed. But yesterday only I got a message from him, and also Ms. Ashima Ori also got a message that suddenly a case has been fixed, a hearing has been fixed by Jammu and Kashmir High Court, and specially directed matter to be listed on a Saturday morning today. Therefore, he expressed his inability. That shows, you see, that first preference, first priority is always towards your profession. So he told Ms. Ashima Ori this morning that I'm very sorry. I will not be able to attend, because this is one case, you see, which I have been called upon to represent the government of India, and I can't refuse that. That is the commitment. He could have easily said, oh, today I'm not well, told the court, I'm not well today, please take it up on Monday, Tuesday. But no, for a lawyer, a commitment is a commitment, and that takes priority over all other things, including your family commitments. And sometimes, as I said, I really marvel, because I'm a male lawyer. I sometimes marvel how our ladies who are in the profession, how they manage so many things, you see, at one and the same time. They are good daughters also. They become good wives also. They become good mothers. And they set up what is called the home as opposed to the office environment. But in office also, they don't ignore their profession. So I've yet to learn this. How they balance, you see, all these responsibilities without in any way compromising either on the professional part or on the home front. So we have to learn a lot, particularly from our young ladies who are budding lawyers, who may become budding lawyers. Eventually they'll get married, they'll raise families. But how do they manage this time, division, responsibilities, so many at one place? That is one learning experience, and I would like to have the views of our ladies who are present here, how they successfully manage, which we as male lawyers, we can't. We are just lawyers only. We are not homemakers. Yes, we do our commitments in the courts, in the transactional matters, burning the midnight oil, but that is all profession, profession, and profession. Yes, we do have some commitment for the families, but nothing as compared to what our lady colleagues, they do in the profession. I want to take this opportunity, particularly since it is a general council conclave, and many eminent general counsel are participating from throughout the country, that the role of the general counsel or in-house counsel, by whatever name called, that has not been given due recognition. It has not been given due recognition by the government, not by the profession regulator, that is the Bar Council of India. They have to keep their license in abeyance when they join, you see, any company as a in-house lawyer, then eventually as a general counsel. Why? I think they are the backbone of Indian economic development. For that matter, economic development of any country. Because they represent the corporate sector by providing legal services to that corporate sector, which the multinational companies, they enter into joint venture agreements, then governments enter into bilateral agreements. Now, who provides the support? The support is essentially provided by the general in-house counsel who are there. They do all the spade work, all the legal work. But then there is a requirement that if you join some multinational company or any private sector company, you have to surrender your license. Your license will be kept in abeyance. Why this? Because they are doing the possibly more important work than we as external counsel do. We as external counsel appear in courts and fight cases and all that. But they are the people who are actually doing all the constructive, fruitful work, which makes the economy very strong. If a law officer, I wish Solicitor General was hearing me. Law officer is appointed or standing counsel are appointed for various institutions, public sector undertakings, government departments like DDA, CPWD and all those things. There is a condition put that you will not appear in any matter which is against that particular government undertaking or against the government. Now the Attorney General cannot appear against the government. Solicitor General cannot appear against the government. There are so many standing council of municipal corporations, of state governments. They cannot appear against the government. Therefore, why can't the Bar Council of India put a similar condition while keeping the license alive, not in abeyance, on the General Council, that they will not appear in any matter which is against, you see, that particular company and all that. Even that can be a part of the contract between the company also and the in-house lawyer also. Obviously, they will not be allowed to appear, and they would not appear otherwise also against the corporation which has engaged them. So there is a way out, that the corporate council, the general council, must take it up very seriously with the Bar Council of India, that why this requirement of keeping this license in abeyance, suspended, why can't they be treated, you see, like other lawyers who don't have to keep their license in abeyance? For instance, these counsel who represent the government, their licenses are not suspended. Their licenses are there, and that is why in that position they appear. So why can't the general counsel appear in the courts representing at least their own clients? This is an issue which needs to be taken up, and we have taken it up. It is a responsibility of the profession as a whole. And in the Society of Indian Law Firms, we have taken up this position with the Bar Council of India, that the license of General Counsel should not be suspended, should not be kept in abeyance, and they should be allowed, you see, to practice law, at least for the clients, for the employers whom they represent. So that matter is there. But as they say, a right is never given, it is always taken. So you have to take that right. These institutions like Business World under Dr. Anurag Batra, they can take up these issues on behalf of the General Counsel. The General Counsel's own organization, there is some ICA, there are a couple of other organizations representing the General Counsel. They can take up these issues with the Bar Council and impress upon them. If the Bar Council does not listen to them, they could take it up with the government, with the Ministry of Law and Justice, with the Ministry of Commerce, because that is the nodal ministry so far as legal services are concerned. It is not the law ministry. So along with this right, which I am insisting, you see, that they should fight for, there are certain obligations also, certain responsibilities also, which they must fulfill and strive to advise their respective, I would use the word employer, although it is not appropriate. A lawyer should not have any employer. He is a self-employed person. But yes, when you are working for a corporation, the corporation is your employer. That is the good and healthy traditions. As a lawyer, which you must inculcate, you see, in the minds of the board of directors of the companies whom you are representing or whom you are employed with. There is what I call, and I've coined this word, professional social responsibility. Now, it is just not applicable on the external lawyers. I think it is also applicable to the in-house general counsel. Professional social responsibility, that is, in other words, giving it back to the society. Now, how do you give it back to the society? By always telling your employer, the board of directors, that they must act within the four corners of law. There can be situations where the business demands that you may have some sort of violation of some existing rules, regulation, laws, bylaws. But you have to be very firm that they must act within the four corners of law, even if it results in some financial, losses or anything. So that is first and foremost. Second is, which is very important today, you must keep on telling your board of directors about the sustainable development. Climate change is going to play havoc. And that is where the corporate sector, has to play a very, very important role. Yes, development has to take place because otherwise we'll stagnate. But development not at the cost of environment or sustainability. That has to be kept in mind. Whatever the activities of the company is, you must tell them that keep in mind this climate change, because otherwise, I can tell you in next 5 or 10 years, I've been reading about it. And Mr. Sudhir Mishra is here, who has, made it like a mission for him, for the business world also, and for himself, to make this climate change a very relevant, important topic of discussion, not just in India, but on the global basis. In next 5 to 10 years, it will play havoc with the economies, with the climate change, with the heat, with the cold, with floods, disasters, if action is not taken. And that is where the responsibility of not just the government may do its job or it may not do its job, but what the corporate sector must do. And you as General Counsel must keep on advising them to encourage and promote sustainable development. Another responsibility on the General Counsel is to avoid disputes. I'm saying it, I'm an external lawyer. It goes against me. If there are more cases, I will flourish. But look at the reality of the situation. Is there a meaningful rule of law in this country when you have 4.5 crore cases pending all over the country? Are we delivering justice to the citizens of this country? When our preamble of the Constitution, you the students must look into the preamble of the Constitution. It says that we the citizens of India give unto ourselves to try to strive for justice. The word used is justice, economic, social, political. Are we providing that justice? 4.5 crore cases. You open the newspapers or because I don't look into my mobile to see what is happening. I read newspapers. I find, okay, Supreme Court is deciding this case about some mosque or about some temple or about some rape cases taking place, and that is all highlighted in the news, in the media. But what about the cases of the citizens, poor citizens? 4.5 crore cases are pending. Our system of administration of justice has virtually broken down. There is no justice, but there is only law. Law has replaced justice, which is a very unfortunate development. What does law mean? Law means technicalities, more regulators. At the drop of the hat, we bring in a new law, new legislation, new regulators. That is what law is about. But we have forgotten the concept of justice, which is there in our culture, which we have inherited. And I remind you of the panchayat system that we used to have. That is our ancient Indian culture, consensual form of administration of justice, not the technical, legalistic approach to resolve these by having laws, laws, and laws. And look at the situation. This tribunalization of justice, it has led us to what? You go to the labor courts, the cases are pending, thousands and thousands of cases. They are not being resolved, although the law says within 6 months or 1 year you should dispose of the matters. Look at the consumer protection fora. Thousands of cases are pending all over. I happened to visit the National Commission, the apex body under the consumer protection, and I saw the appalling situation of files lying in the corridors because they don't have place to keep those files. There are so many matters which are there. That is what is happening by tribunalization of justice. Therefore, instead of strengthening our essential infrastructure of courts, justice can only come if the courts are empowered, courts have the proper infrastructure, the manpower, the technology. Yes, it is very much there at the Supreme Court level, in the High Court level. But what about hundreds and hundreds of district courts all over the country? Do they have access to technology? No. Now, what is the responsibility of the General Counsel under these circumstances? Not to create more disputes, try to resolve disputes, have the consensual form, try to, and I request the law schools and the faculty members who are here to encourage and promote negotiating skills among the students, how to negotiate, how to resolve the disputes. And I believe in one thing, a bad settlement is better than successful litigation. I firmly believe in that, and I follow that, I implement that. Therefore, my advice, you see, is to promote not the ADR as we know commonly, that is alternate dispute resolution, because now we are at a stage we are trying to find out alternatives to ADR, because arbitration has totally failed to take off in this country despite several attempts, amendments after amendments. It has not taken off because it has become very expensive, delayed, monopolized, cartelized by retired judges and also by the legal profession. It has to be broad-based if you want to make arbitration to succeed. Why not have engineers, architects, chartered accountants as arbitrators, as to arbitrate these? Why only lawyers and judges should do that? Therefore, we are looking at ways how to find an alternative to this ADR, and the only alternative is mediation. And I have been, from public platforms, I have been appealing to everyone. Please try to promote mediation. It may not be enforceable in a court of law, but with the new law which is in place, which will likely to be in place in the next few months, possibly some teeth can be given to mediation. But try to promote this system of mediation, trying to resolve the disputes rather than going for litigation. That is one area where the General Counsel can really help, you see, their corporate clients. Even the government has to take a call on that, because the government is the largest litigant. About 60 to 70% cases are where the government itself is involved. And I've been appealing, you see, to the respective law ministers who have come and gone, that try to do something, create that mindset in your government institutions and public sector undertaking that they should try to resolve this dispute by settlement, by settling the matters, not by making it a point of prestige. If the government has lost the case in the lower court, they must challenge it, you see, because, oh, how can anyone decide a case against the government? We'll take it up right up to the Supreme Court. Okay. So that sort of a spirit has to be inculcated, and this is the right forum. I'm grateful to Mr. Anurag Batra, Dr. Anurag Batra, for having organized this opportunity. You'll be discussing many important issues today, many important issues. And one is also on the labor thing. I don't know, it may be premature because despite several attempts, the labor codes have not been implemented as yet. The 4 famous labor codes, they are not yet implemented. We don't know what shape it will come. So these are some words which, my views which I wanted to share with all of you. And there's a brilliant initiative by Business World Legal. And I compliment, you see, the organizers and particularly Dr. Batra and Garima and Ashima for organizing this. And I wish you all the best in your deliberations, important deliberations, which are going to follow after this. And once again, I apologize on behalf of Mr. Tushar Mehta. But as I said, this is a jealous profession. Commitment to profession comes always first. Other things can wait. Thank you.